From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the News 8 Daily 8 Podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update.
Hi, I'm Kylie Conway, and this is your News 8 Daily 8 for Thursday, September 28th. We'll have some patchy fog this morning. There were a lot of schools on 2-hour delays. Then a few showers will linger throughout the Thursday, but mostly cloudy skies. Highs are going to be in the mid-70s. In their second debate, 7 Republicans running for president took on each other and the big name who was not in the room. They battled it out on stage last night in Los Angeles. Mike Valerio breaks it down.
As 7 GOP presidential hopefuls took the stage at the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library Wednesday night, the party's frontrunner was once again absent.
Donald Trump is missing in action.
He put $7 trillion on the debt. He should be in this room to answer those questions for the people you talk about who are suffering.
With a smaller stage, down 1 from their last debate, the candidates fought to break through.
Gentlemen, you'll have your turn.
One of the challenges
so listen up. Can we please focus on the issues that matter?
The man at the center lectern, Ron DeSantis, went into the night with a lot to prove. Once considered the party's best hope of dethroning former President Donald Trump, the Florida governor has lost ground in recent polls.
As commander-in-chief, I'm going to use the U.S. military to go after the Mexican drug cartels. They are killing our people.
After memorably clashing with several rivals in Milwaukee, entrepreneur Vivek Ramaswamy said his goal this time around was to stress his policies and positions.
Unlock American energy, drill, frack, burn coal, embrace nuclear energy, put people back to work.
And former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley looked to build on the momentum her campaign received from the previous debate.
We need to make sure we put 25,000 more Border Patrol and ICE agents on the ground and let them do their job.
In Los Angeles, I'm Mike Valerio.
As his Republican rivals sparred, Trump worked to win over blue-collar voters in Detroit. He spoke at a non-unionized auto parts supplier one day after President Biden walked the picket line with striking union auto workers. Trump called out Biden's push for electric cars, claiming it would assassinate the auto industry. Trump also said a good deal between UAW and the Big Three would not matter if proposed pollution limits go into effect.
I want to begin this evening by saluting these truly great Americans who do not get the credit they deserve. You built this country, you love this country, and you are the ones that make our country run. You know that, right?
Last night marks the second time this year Trump has chosen not to debate. He maintains a commanding lead in the GOP race for president. The Auto Workers Union says its strike could expand again. Union leaders say they plan to unveil their plans for a potential expansion tomorrow. UAW says President Shawn Fain will make the announcement in a video addressed to union members at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. It says the additional walkouts will begin at noon if serious progress isn't made in contract talks. Investigators say they have found the remains of a Central Indiana native who went missing near her home in Colorado 3 years ago. Suzanne Morphew's disappearance made national headlines in 2020 for the search and the charges against her husband, which prosecutors dropped just before trial. Investigators are not releasing the exact location and the state of the remains, only that they found her in Moffat, Colorado, 40 miles south of the area she was reported missing. A vigil was held for Suzanne Morphew in Colorado Springs last night. Morphew is a native of Alexandria and a former teacher. Morphew's husband relocated their family from Indiana to Colorado in the spring of 2018. Suzanne's family says she went for a bike ride on Mother's Day in 2020 and did not return. Her brother led dozens of volunteers from Indiana to search for her. In 2021, police arrested Barry Morphew for murder. Court documents against him say he initially told investigators his wife insisted on leaving him, but he changed that in his statements. Prosecutors eventually dropped the charges after a judge barred them from presenting most of their key witnesses at trial. The judge ruled prosecutors repeatedly failed to follow rules for turning over evidence in Barry's favor. Prosecutors are still leaving the door open to bringing new charges against him. Barry Morphew later filed a $15 million lawsuit against county officials. A Marion County inmate accidentally released from the Marion County Jail is now back behind bars. The U.S. Marshals Service arrested Kevin Mason at a home in St. Paul, Minnesota yesterday afternoon. The arrest brings a 2-week search for Mason to a close. Mason was accidentally released September 13th when a Marion County booking clerk removed 2 of his warrants. He'd been wanted on 3 warrants in Minnesota, including one for second-degree murder. Mason's girlfriend, Desiree Oliver, was charged Tuesday with assisting a criminal. The court documents reveal Mason had her drop him off at the Keystone Fashion Mall after his release. An Indianapolis man is sharing painful perspective on gun violence. He's very close to 2 cases we've covered. David Grundy says his cousin is the man found shot to death inside a car Monday. Then, Tuesday, Grundy says he went by the spot where 2 Indianapolis police officers and a state trooper fired on a wanted man, killing him after they say he pointed a gun at them. Grundy spoke to our crew about the fallout.
It affects everybody, not just the homes that was affected, but the whole community, the neighborhood as well. I actually was driving past, just getting off work, headed home, and then I seen this altercation that took place and just kept it moving. But I'm knowing that it's a lot of violence going on and around in the neighborhood.
Officials say state police have fired guns in 4 cases this year. IMPD officers have used guns in 9. Inmate is learning new details about a deadly crash that happened moments after a police chase on the east side of Indianapolis. Indiana State Police identified the suspect yesterday as 19-year-old Luis Leyba Gonzalez. ISP says officers tried to pull Leyba Gonzalez over for reckless driving Tuesday night. They say he refused to stop and led troopers on a high-speed chase. Police called the chase off. Leyba Gonzalez crashed into another vehicle about 5 minutes later. ISP says the driver of the second vehicle died, as well as 2 passengers in the suspect's car, including a 14-year-old.
It's devastating. It's heartbreaking. We recognize immediately the life-changing event that is occurring before our eyes.
Leyba Gonzalez was slightly injured in the crash. He faces a preliminary charge of resisting law enforcement causing death. A Purdue professor predicts an increase in respiratory illnesses like COVID, the flu, and colds this fall. The CDC says people with egg allergies can now get their egg-based or non-egg-based flu vaccines. Purdue nursing professor Tiffany Florczyk says additional safety measures are no longer needed as reactions due to egg allergies are rare. However, regardless of the kind of allergy, the agency still recommends getting vaccinated in a setting where allergic reactions can be quickly recognized. According to the CDC, this year's flu vaccine protects against 4 common strains of the illness. The newest COVID booster rolled out earlier this month. Florczyk says new data shows you can get both vaccinations at the same time.
The benefit of receiving both vaccines in the same visit is that, of course, you'll receive protection from both conditions. If side effects occur from the vaccinations, they will happen at one time, and the co-administration of both vaccinations requires fewer visits to your provider.
The CDC recommends anyone 6 months or older get vaccinated for both diseases. Children under 8 may need 2 shots for the flu, while children under 5 may need multiple doses of the COVID vaccine. Rookie quarterback Anthony Richardson is back on the practice field. He is still in concussion protocol from a hit 2 weeks ago, but the team says he could play Sunday against the Rams. The league is honoring the hero of Sunday's win over Baltimore. Kicker Matt Gay is the AFC Special Teams Player of the Week. He was 5 for 5 and hit a record 4 from more than 50 yards, including one that sent the game into overtime and the one that won it.
I mean, it's awesome. I think those moments that you get presented yourself, especially as a kicker, when it's kind of on that moment to win the game, to come through for your teammates and, those guys that are out there battling. I'm sitting on the bench for 90% of the game. Those guys are out there getting beat up and tackled and hit. And so to have those guys do that and then put it on something like that to go win the game, to be able to come through is an awesome moment for yourself and to be able to help these guys, their hard-fought sacrifice to get a win.
The last Colt to win Special Teams Player of the Week was also a kicker. Chase McLaughlin earned the honor in Week 5 of last season. And today, House Republicans will make their case for an impeachment inquiry into President Biden. The chairman of the Oversight, Judiciary, and Ways and Means Committees will hold today's opening hearing. It's set to focus on constitutional and legal questions surrounding Biden's involvement in his son Hunter's overseas business. White House officials say the Biden administration is gearing up for a federal shutdown ahead of Saturday's deadline to fund the government. Officials say they're deciding whose jobs would be deemed essential and who would go on furlough. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy laid out a strategy yesterday to his peers behind closed doors. He's urging his Republican majority to work together to pass a temporary measure to keep the government open. McCarthy has set a test vote for tomorrow on the plan crafted by holdouts on the far right flank of the party, calling for larger cutbacks than Democrats, and some Republicans say they would support it. Now, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer says McCarthy needs to take a different route. He's urging the House to consider the Senate stopgap approach. Senate leaders reached their own deal Tuesday that would keep the government open through November 17th. If spending measures are not passed by Saturday's deadline, the shutdown would start the same day students emerge from the pandemic pause. Student loan payments will still be due no matter what. According to federal education data, the average borrower owes more than $37,000. A Bankrate survey shows nearly a quarter of Americans with student loan debt say borrowing too much for their education is their biggest financial regret. The Department of Education has imposed an on-ramp policy for payments made between now and September 30th of next year. That means if a borrower misses a payment, they will not be reported as delinquent to credit rating agencies. The American soldier who sprinted into North Korea is now back on U.S. soil. Private Travis King walked off a plane in San Antonio, Texas overnight. The White House said yesterday Sweden and China helped secure King's release. Earlier in the day, North Korea announced it decided to expel King, who'd been held there since July. He'll now undergo medical screenings at the same center officials took Trevor Reed and Brittany Griner to after their releases. And a business headlines, an analyst argues that the UAW raises would be passed down to consumers. Dan Ives with Wedbush says 40% cost increases in building and vehicles will drive up the cost by $3,000 to $5,000. He also says that CEO Elon Musk is poised to come out the winner in the contentious Detroit labor talks. U.S. crude oil prices hit their highest mark of the year on Wednesday. West Texas Intermediate crude oil moved 3.62% higher to $93.64 a barrel. AAA says prices in central Indiana have been around $3.70 a gallon for the past month. Costco CEO says more younger people are signing up for memberships. The CEO told CNBC that younger people, some of whom may not have started their own families yet, may be purchasing less merchandise than older generations. A survey of 2,000 U.S. adults revealed that camera rolls are flooded with group photos with friends and family. Conducted by one poll on behalf of Mixbook, a photo book brand, results also revealed that the average person has nearly 3,000 photos in their camera roll and would like to print out more than a third of them. Following a special event, respondents say they look back on those photos a little more than once per month. Also, 9 in 10 parents admit they will never be done worrying about their children. According to a new survey of 2,000 parents of children up to age 6, 89% agree that even when their child is grown up and out of the house, they'll never stop worrying. It was conducted by one poll on behalf of Safety First. The research revealed that over the last 6 months, parents have lost close to 2 full days of sleep worrying about their child. This has been your News 8 Daily 8 for Wish TV. I'm Kylie Conway, online at wishtv.com, and follow us on Facebook when you search Wish TV.
This is the News 8 Daily 8 podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update on demand for even more on demand and on the go. Connect with Wish TV on Facebook at wishtv.com and on the free Wish TV mobile app. Thank you for listening, and be sure to like, subscribe, and follow this podcast for updates every weekday morning on the All Indiana Podcast Network and wherever you get your podcast.